You cleaned that carpet stain last week. You got on your hands and knees with a $20 enzyme spray and scrubbed until the yellow disappeared. But 2 weeks later, on the first humid afternoon, the smell came drifting back up like it never left. What if the real fix has been sitting on a drugstore shelf this whole time, in a plain brown bottle for about $1? To understand why that is even possible, you first have to understand what pet urine actually is. Fair warning, the chemistry here gets more interesting than you might expect. When your dog or cat has an accident on the carpet, that puddle is not a simple liquid. It is a chemical cocktail with 3 distinct components, and each one creates a different problem for anyone trying to clean it up. The first component is urea. Urea makes up roughly 2% of urine, and it starts breaking down almost immediately after hitting the carpet fibers. Bacteria living on the carpet surface begin converting urea into ammonia, which produces that sharp, stinging smell you notice within the first few hours of an accident. The good news is that ammonia is water soluble, so standard soap and water cleaning does handle this part reasonably well. A wet rag and some elbow grease can usually get the ammonia under control within a day. But ammonia is only the opening act. The second component is urochrome. This pigment compound gives urine its yellow color, and it behaves very differently from ammonia. Urochrome bonds directly with carpet fibers at the molecular level, and it becomes progressively harder to remove as it oxidizes over time. If you have ever noticed a pale yellow ring on light-colored carpet, days or weeks after cleaning a stain, that is urochrome that was not fully lifted during the first cleaning pass. It is stubborn, but it does respond to the right carpet cleaning agents if you catch it early enough. The third component in pet urine, though, is the real villain of this story: uric acid. This is where the entire game changes. Uric acid is a crystalline compound made of nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. When urine dries on carpet, the uric acid forms tiny salt crystals that bind tightly to the carpet fibers, the carpet backing, the padding underneath, and sometimes even the wooden or concrete subfloor below. These crystals are invisible to the naked eye. Professional carpet cleaners use ultraviolet black lights to locate them because you cannot see them under normal lighting conditions, even when you are staring directly at the spot where the accident happened. Here is what makes uric acid so maddening. These crystals are not water soluble. Regular soap and water will not dissolve them. Carpet shampoo will not dissolve them. Steam cleaning will not dissolve them either. In fact, steam cleaning can actually make the problem worse because the heat can permanently fuse urine proteins to the carpet fibers, essentially baking the stain into the material in a way that becomes nearly impossible to reverse. And the cruelest part of all, those uric acid crystals are completely odorless when they are dry. But the moment they encounter any moisture, whether it is humidity on a warm summer afternoon, a glass of water that spills near the original stain, or even the dampness from your carpet cleaner during your next deep clean, they recrystallize and release a fresh wave of ammonia-like odor right back into the room. That is the cycle that drives pet owners to the edge. You clean the stain, you watch it vanish, you believe it is over, and then 2 weeks later, on the first muggy day, the smell rolls back in as if you never touched it. This is not a failure of effort or a failure of scrubbing technique. It is a failure of chemistry. The surface level problem was handled, but the deeper molecular problem was never addressed. And if you have cats, the situation is even more extreme. Cat urine is significantly more concentrated than dog urine because cats evolved as desert animals that naturally conserve water. Their kidneys extract more liquid and leave behind a more potent concentration of waste compounds in every accident. According to one widely cited veterinary estimate, the uric acid in cat urine has a half-life of roughly 6 years. 6 years. That means after 6 full years, only half of the uric acid crystals in that carpet would have naturally decomposed on their own. The other half would still be sitting there embedded in the carpet fibers, waiting patiently for the next humid afternoon to announce their presence. So why does any of this matter for a dollar bottle from the drugstore? Because hydrogen peroxide attacks pet stains through a completely different mechanism than soap, water, or any traditional carpet cleaner on the market. To understand how, it helps to know where this chemical came from in the first place. In 1818, in a laboratory in Paris, a French chemist named Louis-Jacques Thenard was experimenting with barium salts. Thenard was born the son of peasant farmers in a small village called La Loupetière in the Aube region of France, and he had endured serious poverty and hardship to earn his place in the scientific world. His contributions to chemistry were eventually considered significant enough that his name was engraved on the Eiffel Tower alongside the names of other great French scientists. Thenard was burning barium salts to create barium peroxide, a known compound at the time. But when he dissolved the barium peroxide in nitric acid and carefully removed the barium from the resulting solution, something unexpected remained: a clear, slightly viscous liquid with properties he had never encountered in any previous experiment. He called it AU-oxygen, oxygenated water. Almost immediately, he discovered that it reacted explosively with certain metal oxides and that it attacked bare skin on contact, leaving painful but temporary blotches. Thenard spent the next several years defining its chemical properties, concentrating the solution using a vacuum pump at room temperature because any application of heat caused it to decompose violently. By September of 1818, he had produced a concentrated sample containing 32 times its own volume of oxygen. What Thenard had isolated was H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, a molecule that is essentially water with one extra oxygen atom attached. And that single extra atom is the key to everything that happens next. Hydrogen peroxide is what chemists call a reactive oxygen species. It is the simplest member of a family of compounds called peroxides, defined by an oxygen-to-oxygen single bond that is inherently unstable and wants to break apart. When hydrogen peroxide encounters organic material, like the compounds in a pet stain, that unstable bond does break. The molecule splits into water and a single, highly reactive, free oxygen atom. That liberated oxygen atom immediately seeks out other molecules to bond with, and when it finds the organic compounds in a urine stain, it alters their chemical structure through a process called oxidation. For stain removal on a living room carpet, this oxidation process produces two critical results. First, the reactive oxygen attacks the chromophores in urochrome. Chromophores are the specific molecular structures within a compound that absorbs certain wavelengths of visible light, which is what produces color to the human eye. When the free oxygen atom bonds with these chromophores, their molecular geometry shifts and they can no longer absorb light the same way. The yellow pigment does not get scrubbed away or physically lifted out of the carpet. It becomes chemically invisible. The stain compound is still technically present at the molecular level, but the structures that made it yellow to the human eye have been permanently altered. Second, the oxidation process simultaneously breaks down many of the odor-causing compounds in the stain. The bacteria responsible for converting urea into ammonia are killed on contact because hydrogen peroxide is a disinfectant that has been recognized as such since 1858, when an English physician named Benjamin Ward Richardson published his findings on its antiseptic properties in the medical journal The Lancet. And beyond killing bacteria, the oxidation reaction also neutralizes many of the volatile organic compounds that produce that persistent pet smell long after the visible stain has been cleaned. Here's the part that separates hydrogen peroxide from almost every other household cleaning product you could reach for. When it finishes working, it breaks down entirely into water and oxygen gas. There is no chemical residue left behind on the carpet, no sticky surfactant film attracting dirt over time, and no fragrance masking agents covering up a smell that will return in 2 weeks when the perfume fades. Just water and oxygen, both of which evaporate or absorb naturally. Have you ever wondered why so many commercial stain removers include the word oxy or oxy in their product names? This is the reason. Those products typically contain a compound called sodium percarbonate, which is essentially hydrogen peroxide locked into a dry, stable powder form. When sodium percarbonate dissolves in water, it releases hydrogen peroxide as its primary active cleaning agent. So that $12 tub of oxygen-based stain powder sitting on the shelf in the laundry aisle at your grocery store is at its molecular core, delivering the same active ingredient as the brown bottle at the drugstore counter that costs $1 or less. The pet cleaning industry generates billions of dollars in annual revenue, and a significant portion of that money comes from enzyme-based stain removers, typically priced at $10 to $20 per bottle. These products contain live bacteria that produce specialized enzymes, particularly ureases, which target uric acid crystals with a lock and key specificity. Each urease enzyme fits into the molecular structure of a uric acid crystal like a key into a particular lock, breaking the crystal apart into carbon dioxide and ammonia, both of which evaporate harmlessly into the surrounding air. And to be fair, enzyme cleaners are not a marketing gimmick. They accomplish something that hydrogen peroxide does not do particularly well, namely destroying uric acid crystals embedded deep within carpet padding. We will come back to exactly when enzymes are the better choice in a few minutes. But for visible surface stains, for bacterial colonies, and for the volatile odor compounds that make your living room smell like a kennel on a warm day, hydrogen peroxide handles the job effectively for a fraction of the cost. The question is how to use it correctly, because the application method matters as much as the chemistry itself. Now, the method. 6 steps, all of them simple. Step 1. If the stain is fresh and still wet, blot up as much liquid as possible using white towels or thick paper towels. Press down firmly and replace your towels as they become saturated. Keep blotting until almost no moisture transfers to a fresh towel. Do not rub. Rubbing pushes the urine deeper into the carpet fibers and spreads the contamination outward in a wider circle. If you use any water at this stage, make sure it is cold water only. Hot water can permanently set the proteins in the urine stain, making it far harder to remove later. Step 2. Sprinkle a generous layer of plain baking soda over the entire stained area, extending about 2 inches beyond the visible edges of the stain. Urine often spreads wider beneath the surface than what you can see on top, and you want to cover that hidden perimeter. Baking soda serves 2 purposes here. It absorbs residual moisture trapped in the carpet fibers, and it begins neutralizing ammonia odor through a simple reaction between an acid and a base. Let the baking soda sit for 10 to 15 minutes before moving to the next step. Everything so far has been basic cleanup. But this next step is where the oxidation chemistry actually enters the picture. Step 3. While the baking soda is working, mix your cleaning solution. Take half a cup of 3% hydrogen peroxide, the standard brown bottle concentration available at any pharmacy or dollar store, and add roughly 1 teaspoon of liquid dish soap, regular hand dishwashing liquid. Do not use dishwasher detergent or laundry soap. The dish soap acts as a surfactant, lowering the surface tension of the solution so it penetrates down into carpet fibers rather than sitting on top and beating up. Step 4. Pour or spray the mixture slowly and evenly over the baking soda layer on the stain. You will see a gentle fizzing reaction as the peroxide interacts with the baking soda, which is completely normal and expected. Using a soft bristled brush or a clean cloth, gently work the mixture into the carpet fibers with light circular motions. Do not scrub aggressively. You are not trying to force the stain out through physical effort. You are distributing the chemistry evenly and letting oxidation do the work at the molecular level. Now here is where patience separates the people who get results from the people who end up disappointed. Step 5. Walk away. This is the step that people skip, and it is the most important one. Leave the solution on the stain for at least 1 to 2 hours. Some professional carpet cleaners recommend placing a damp cloth or towel over the treated area to keep the hydrogen peroxide from evaporating too quickly, because peroxide loses its oxidizing effectiveness once it dries. As long as the solution remains wet on the carpet fibers, the chemical reaction is still actively breaking down stain compounds and killing bacteria beneath the surface. One experienced carpet technician mentioned a customer who placed an upside-down laundry basket over the treated spot, which allowed airflow while keeping pets and children away during the dwell time. That kind of simple problem solving makes all the difference when treating carpet stains. Step 6. Once the area has dried completely, vacuum up the remaining baking soda residue thoroughly. If the stain is gone and the odor has been eliminated, you are finished. If a faint shadow remains on the carpet, you can repeat the treatment one additional time. Allow the carpet to dry fully between applications to avoid saturating the carpet padding underneath. A carpet pad that stays wet for too long can develop mold growth, which creates an entirely different and potentially more serious problem. That is the complete method. 6 steps, roughly $1 in materials, and about 2 hours of dwell time when you do not have to do anything except wait. It is worth mentioning that this same method works on more than urine. Hydrogen peroxide oxidizes organic compounds broadly, which means it is effective against vomit stains, blood spots, drool marks, and even the mysterious brown patches that sometimes appear on carpet beneath pet water bowls. The chemistry does not care what the organic source material is. If it contains chromophores that produce color and bacteria that produce odor, the oxidation reaction will attack both. That is why professional carpet cleaners have been using peroxide-based solutions for decades, long before the pet cleaning aisle at the store became a multi-billion-dollar industry. One common mistake is worth addressing. Many pet owners instinctively reach for white vinegar as their first response to a pet accident because vinegar has a long reputation as a natural cleaning agent. Vinegar can neutralize some of the ammonia in fresh urine through an acid-base reaction. But vinegar is completely powerless against uric acid crystals, and the acidity of vinegar can actually set certain types of stains deeper into carpet fibers rather than lifting them out. If you have been using vinegar for years and wondering why the smell keeps coming back, this is why. The ammonia was temporarily neutralized, but the uric acid was never touched. If you are finding this helpful, hit subscribe. We cover practical pet care advice every week, and the next video in this series goes deeper into a topic you will not want to miss. But this would not be a responsible video if we stopped right here and declared hydrogen peroxide a miracle solution. So let us talk about the limitations, because they are real and they matter. The first limitation is bleaching. Hydrogen peroxide is at its core a bleaching agent. That is literally how it first became widely used in daily life. By the late 1800s, it was being applied to lighten hair color, and it remains a primary ingredient in professional teeth whitening products to this day. At 3% concentration, the bleaching risk on white or light-colored carpet is very low. But on dark carpets, colored area rugs, wool fibers, or certain synthetic blends, even 3% peroxide can cause noticeable lightening or permanent discoloration. Before using this method on any carpet, test it in a hidden spot first. Apply a small amount of the solution inside a closet or behind a piece of heavy furniture, wait 1 hour and check carefully for any color change. If the color shifts even slightly, this method is not safe for that carpet. The second limitation is depth of penetration. When a pet accident soaks through the carpet surface, through the backing material, and down into the padding beneath, a surface application of hydrogen peroxide may not reach the deepest layers of contamination. Research from the carpet industry has shown that a visible surface stain measuring 6 inches across can indicate a contaminated area 12 to 18 inches or wider in the padding below, because liquids spread horizontally as they soak downward through absorbent materials. For a small, fresh accident caught quickly, surface treatment is usually sufficient. But for large areas of contamination, for repeated accidents in the same spot over weeks or months, or for situations where the urine has penetrated all the way through the padding to the subfloor, topical treatment with any household product will likely fall short. How do you even know if your carpet has old hidden stains in the first place? If you moved into a home that previously had pets, or if you suspect your own pet has been having accidents in spots you have not discovered yet, there is a simple way to find out. Turn off all the lights in the room at night and slowly scan the carpet with a handheld ultraviolet black light. You can find these at most hardware stores for $10 to $15. Under ultraviolet light, dried urine fluoresces a pale yellow-green, even years after the original accident happened. The results can be surprising. Stains that are completely invisible under normal lighting will glow unmistakably under ultraviolet. And knowing where the contamination actually is determines whether you need $1 worth of hydrogen peroxide or a more aggressive treatment plan. But the bleaching risk and the depth issue are not the hardest limitations to accept. The third limitation involves those uric acid crystals we talked about earlier. Hydrogen peroxide excels at oxidizing the visible color compounds and killing odor-producing bacteria on the carpet surface. But it does not break down uric acid crystals with the same targeted precision that enzyme cleaners achieve through their biological lock and key mechanism. For deep, old, or severe uric acid contamination embedded in carpet padding, enzymes remain the more thorough tool for permanent odor elimination. So what does this mean in practical terms? For fresh accidents on light carpet, hydrogen peroxide is often everything you need. The stain lifts, the bacteria die, the odor compounds neutralize, and the total cost is roughly $1. For the vast majority of everyday pet accidents in a normal household, this is the right answer. For older stains that have soaked deep into carpet padding, an enzyme cleaner is the better investment. You will pay $10 to $15 per bottle, but the living bacteria will continue producing uric acid targeting enzymes as long as their food source remains present. There is another reason thorough stain removal matters beyond controlling the smell. Pets return to the same spot. A dog or cat's sense of smell is thousands of times more sensitive than a human's, and even trace amounts of uric acid that your nose cannot detect will signal to a pet that this patch of carpet is an acceptable bathroom location. No amount of behavioral training will override that chemical signal. If the uric acid remains in the carpet, the pet will keep coming back to that exact spot, creating a cycle of repeated accidents that worsens over time. Removing the stain at the molecular level is not a bonus. It is the foundation of every successful house training effort. For the worst cases, where an aging pet or a cat with urinary issues has repeatedly soaked the same area over many months, a combination approach works best. Start with peroxide to handle the surface stain and bacteria, then follow with enzyme cleaner applied generously enough to soak through the carpet into the padding and allow a full 12 to 24 hours of dwell time for the enzymes to break down the uric acid crystals below. Use peroxide first, and then enzymes for deeper work. But what about situations that have gone beyond what any home treatment can handle? For any case where the urine has reached the subfloor or where the smell persists after multiple rounds of home treatment, professional carpet cleaning with subsurface extraction is the right call. A professional can inject enzyme solution directly into the padding and flush contaminated material out with specialized equipment that no household product can match. Call a professional when the problem reaches the padding or subfloor. One more safety note before we finish. Never mix hydrogen peroxide with vinegar in the same application. Vinegar is an acid and hydrogen peroxide is an oxidizer, and when they combine they can form peracetic acid, which is corrosive to skin, eyes, lungs, and carpet fibers. Use one or the other on any given stain, never both together. Never mix them because of the risk from peracetic acid. So where does all of this leave you? You now know more about the chemistry of pet stains than most professional carpet cleaners would explain to a customer in a single visit. You understand why uric acid crystals keep regenerating odor on humid days, why soap and steam fail against them, and how a 200-year-old molecule rearranges the chemistry of a stain at the atomic level. This chemistry explains why some fixes work and others do not. The discovery that Louis-Jacques Thénard made in his Paris laboratory in 1818 has traveled an extraordinary path over the past 2 centuries. That same oxygenated water has been used to whiten teeth, bleach hair, propel rockets into orbit, detect invisible bloodstains at crime scenes alongside luminol, and treat millions of gallons of municipal wastewater around the world. Today, roughly 5 million metric tons of hydrogen peroxide are manufactured globally every year. And across every one of those applications, from aerospace engineering to water purification to the pet aisle at your local grocery store, the fundamental chemistry remains identical to what happens when you pour $1's worth of it onto a pet stain on your living room carpet. Think of hydrogen peroxide as the same active chemistry, whether it is in a lab or in your home. One extra oxygen atom released from an unstable bond, seeking out organic molecules, altering their structure and then breaking down into nothing but water and air. 200 years of science, $1 at the drugstore. Pet stains do not have to mean the end of your carpet. They do not have to mean $50 worth of specialty sprays from the pet supply store, and they definitely do not mean ripping out the flooring and starting over. The next time your dog tracks mud across the hallway, or your cat leaves an unwelcome surprise behind the couch, or your aging golden retriever has an accident on the living room rug because her bladder is not what it used to be, you do not have to panic. There is no need to rush to the pet store or to call a carpet replacement company. You already have what you need in the bathroom cabinet, and now you know why it works, how to apply it properly, and when to reach for something stronger instead. Sometimes the answer is the simplest one. A brown bottle from the drugstore, a box of baking soda from the pantry, a drop of dish soap, and a little patience while the chemistry does the work for you. If you want to know what else hydrogen peroxide can do around a pet household, from deodorizing litter boxes to freshening dog beds and crates, that video is coming next. We will see you there.